Hi there! I just recorded this whole video and then I went to go watch it and I found out it wasn't recording. You can really tell I'm new to this, can't you? Hello everybody. Hello. Hi. Welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. It's very exciting. So today I'm going to be doing a review of my first year of being vegetarian. Anybody who's come from my Instagram, you may remember me saying I was going to do this video a month ago and life kind of got in the way, so I haven't really got around to it, but here we are. So I've got my notes and I'm just going to go through like the pros and cons and things I've noticed about being a veggie. The first pro is that I felt really good about being veggie. I'd always wanted to, and I really love animals, and I always feel kind of guilty when I ate them, but that guilt was overcome by the fact that the taste of meat is just really nice. Some people would say that they are healthier when they're vegetarian, and that is the case for me now because I eat a lot of vegetables, but it's not, if you're looking to be vegetarian because you want to be healthier, that is not how it works at all. When I was trying to be vegetarian when I first started uni, I was eating lots of shit, lots of vegetarian shit, but it was still shit, and my diet was so bad and I was barely eating anything because I couldn't afford anything, and I lost a lot of weight and it wasn't good at all. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. You can be healthy when being vegetarian, and I would say in some ways it is a bit easier because you're focused more on the vegetables rather than the meat, but don't go into this thinking, oh, it's automatically going to make me healthy. It won't. Promise you that. You've got to put the work in to be healthy. I've written down on my notes that my skin worsened. I don't actually know if it did. I would argue that my skin is better now, but I think that's because I really do think the reason why my skin was bad is because I was just drinking a lot of coffee. I would have like 5 coffees a day, and I've completely cut out coffee. I say completely, I've almost completely cut out coffee, but now I just drink a lot of tea. It's a peppermint tea here, and I really do think that has helped my skin get better. I'm going to talk about cooking now. So I couldn't really cook beforehand. I didn't really buy meat before I went vegetarian because meat is expensive. That meant when I turned to vegetarianism, it went from I don't buy meat because it's expensive to I don't buy meat because I don't want to buy meat. So it wasn't really that big of a jump. It is harder to make food now, so it's a lot harder to have a base for your food. A lot of people use meat as their base and I can't do that anymore. So nowadays I use eggs a lot. If you go on my Instagram, it's just eggs. Do I cook anything else? No. It's harder to make food and you have to be a bit more creative with your food, just because you can't just throw a bit of meat in there and boom, you've got a meal. You have to like think outside the box, and my friend tried to be vegetarian and she was making like mushroom risotto and stuff like that. You can buy corn food, and the thing is, that is expensive. I haven't really found any like cheap options, so I've got corn and you've got Linda McCartney. They're like the 2 main ones and I love them both. I also want to talk about tofu. So my boyfriend loves to experiment with foods and he's found 2 different types of tofu. So there's the one that you're probably most familiar with, which is like squishy. It's like a squishy blob, and we marinated that. Well, he marinated that while I sat and watched TV. That mixed in with like noodles or something like that, it gives like a really nice flavour. It really absorbs taste well. We also found this tofu and I don't want to say brick, but it was a brick. It was very tough, very texturised, and when we tried to marinate that, it didn't really absorb the flavour. It did a little bit, but not much. And that was more for bulking out food. Next, I want to talk about eating out and takeaways. It can get a bit repetitive, I'm not gonna lie. Lots of places, I live in Manchester, it's a massive city, and somehow they just don't really have a lot of different veggie options. They always have like the same thing. It's always the same thing. In takeaways, there is 3 kinds of veggie pizzas that you can get. You can get the margarita, you can get the vegetarian, and you can get the vegetarian spicy. And that's it. The rest of them are all meat, and it's just kind of, it gets very repetitive and boring, and that's why I don't really order pizza unless it's from like Domino's, because Domino's you can make your own. If I was to order a takeaway, it would be Bento King, just because I found that they have like really nice corn stuff, which is well priced for the rest of the menu. There are options, but they can get a bit boring, and a lot of places don't do corn. That's just Bento King. Most places don't really have any like meat substitute, so it's just a lot of vegetable stuff. Going actually out for meals, I found 2 places that I am in love with, and they both have they both do burgers. and one of them is Byron Burgers. And if you're in Manchester and very serious about trying to be vegetarian or vegan, because both of these meals are vegan, Byron Burger next to Ask Italian in Piccadilly Gardens, they have a vegan burger and it's called the Beatnik, and I love this burger so much. I go there so much just for that burger because it's so delicious. It's essentially a beetroot burger. The bun is all vegan, everything inside it's vegan, and it does fall apart because obviously it's not meat, it doesn't hold together that well, but it is so delicious. I 100%, everyone, even if you're not vegetarian or vegan, try it out please. It is so good. I love it. The second one is Gourmet Burger Kitchen, and I haven't found one, I don't know if they've got a Gourmet Burger Kitchen in just town, but I know in the Trafford Centre they have one, and that burger, I think it's called the Californian, that's what I've written down here, but it's also vegan, vegan bread, everything like that. It is also amazing. Again, it does fall apart. Vegan burgers, they do have a tendency to fall apart, but it is so amazing, so delicious. I recommend everyone go try them. They are just really good. So there are obviously some vegan and vegetarian options that I've found that I love, but if you go to places like Spoons, they have very few veggie options. It changes depending on which restaurant you go to. Some have lots, some don't have a lot, but I went to one that had a lot and I had to order 3 different things before they actually had the ingredients in. So I wouldn't recommend going to Spoons for veggie options. I'm sorry Spoons, I love you, but you need to up your game. Another thing I want to talk about, Christmas. I had my first Christmas as a vegetarian just gone, and it was incredibly hard. My family loved me. We had gammon, we had turkey, we had all sorts of different meats, and they just weren't really that happy with me being veggie. My mum was never on board with the veggie lifestyle. My family loved meat. They had gammon, they had turkey, they had all sorts. They had to make different roast potatoes because they do their roast potatoes in goose fat. They had to make a different kind of gravy. They had to buy me a corn, it's called a corn roast, and it's actually really good. I personally think it tastes better than turkey. But they had to buy me that and also use that. It actually lasted me for ages. So I had the turkey, and then I had turkey next day. And then I had like turkey sandwiches that you always have at the end of the evening. So there are options, but it's going to be a bit hard for just in general just to eat over Christmas because it obviously is such a meat-based holiday. And also with the presents, I would get a lot of sweets, and there are so many sweets that I just had to give to my sisters because I can't eat gelatin. So I recently went on holiday to Croatia, and it was a hotel that offered breakfast and dinner included, and the variety there, I know a lot of European places, they don't really do like veggie stuff, and if they do it's like potato, but this place they did have some veggie options. Breakfast was pretty standard. They didn't really have a lot of options even for meat eaters, so it was a lot of just, I would have cereal, and then I would have scrambled eggs, and then I would have cheese sandwich. They did a lot of savoury things like ham and cheese sandwiches and stuff like that, so that was breakfast essentially. And dinner would be, for vegetarians, it was pasta mostly. They did label like everything that was vegetarian and vegan, but we did find there were a few things that were labelled vegan that were actually cheese based. So we were very careful about that, me and the people who were vegetarians and vegans. So I would have pasta and then I would just layer my plate with veg. It was just overflowing with veg. I wanted to not bloat. I was very certain not to bloat, and I didn't bloat. I went there with abs. I came back with abs, so I think I did pretty well there. That was essentially all I would have for dinner, was just pasta and vegetables, and like it was essentially salad vegetables, so lots of lettuce and cucumber and stuff like that. Not everybody did that, you don't have to do that obviously, but it was the same thing every day. It was very repetitive. Every single morning I would have that, and every single dinner I would have that. It was just, there was no variety there really, and I can't really blame them. They were catering for a lot of people, so they clearly can't have like gourmet options, but would be nice for something other than eggs and pasta, but it's kind of what I drink here anyway, so it wasn't really much different. But again, if you're a new vegetarian, it may be a bit more difficult to adjust to not having the amount of options you did have, whereas me knowing and expecting essentially the lack of options was alright for me. I enjoyed it. I like egg and I like pasta, so I wasn't really complaining that much. There were people who eat meat who were complaining about the food more than I was, so I've got 3 questions here that I want to answer. The first one is, am I going to go vegan? No, I'm not going to go vegan. I don't plan to. I really love eggs, and as I've said, eggs are the basis for most of my meals. I don't eat cheese that much, but I do like to eat it. And I'm really not sure how I feel about vegan cheese yet. It's growing on me. I'm getting there, but you know. I actually do drink dairy-free milk. When I go to coffee shops, I will always get the dairy-free alternative. They usually always have one that you don't have to pay for anymore, so I feel like there isn't really an excuse to be getting dairy, especially if you're trying. And I do tend to buy soy milk here. I don't have any at the moment, but I do tend to have soy milk. And I know when I go home, my mum buys me soy milk. Well, she actually buys me almond milk, which is very nice of her. Yeah, so I'm not going to be going vegan. I don't think financially at the moment it's feasible for me. So at the moment, no vegan, but I am planning to stay vegetarian. Question 2, am I going to stay vegetarian? Yes, I am. I don't know how long for. I can't guarantee it's going to be a forever thing. I don't know what is going to change in my life, so maybe I won't be vegetarian in a few years' time, but right now it is financially feasible for me and I am enjoying doing it, so I am going to continue being vegetarian. Woohoo. And the final question, should you do it too? I reckon if you can afford it, really consider whether being able to afford it or not, because if you want like a meat substitute, they can get a bit costly. So I don't think it's that hard to afford it. I think just if you're so used to buying cheap meat from Aldi, let's say, then switching to like corn, it is gonna up your budget a bit. So if you really are struggling to make ends meet, maybe not. But if you can afford it, if you are in the right state of mind, if you know that it's not gonna make you healthy just by turning vegetarian, you have to actually make changes in your life to do that, then do it. Why not? Give it a go. Maybe don't go cold turkey like I did. I went straight, like that was it and that was it. Maybe let it in gradually and you'll be able to, it'll be much more adaptable that way. But if you want to just go cold turkey and you think you can do it, more power to you. Very happy for you. I think it is something that everybody should try. Definitely. It is good for the environment and it's good for the animals and it's just all around good, and it's probably good for your health as well, because red meat is really not great. All that fat and stuff like that, it's just, ooh, not good. Yeah, definitely give it a go if you're considering it, even if it's just for a week. That's what my friends have done. I know people who have been like, we're gonna go vegetarian for a week, and they really enjoyed it, so maybe you will too, who knows. I'm gonna link some sites below that give more information about vegetarianism better than I could have done, and veganism for that matter. But yeah, that's everything, I think. Thank you so much for watching, if you've actually managed to get this far, because I think it's gonna be quite a long video. And I can't wait to edit it. Woohoo! Yeah, thank you for watching. I will link my Instagram that you can go follow. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Good luck!